Hello, my name is Dr. Elizabeth Cohen, and I'm going to be your professor for this very short accelerated class, COMM 205, which is, I can't remember, film, motion picture, or moving image appreciation. But whatever it is, you get the point. All of those things kind of mean the same thing for me. We're going to talk about movies, and hopefully you'll appreciate at least some of them by the end of this class. I am a professor in the Communication Studies Department. Our offices are over in Field Hall, which is the former business school, but it's kind of irrelevant because just like hopefully you, I'm not going to be on campus until school starts again in August. So if you need to get in touch with me, please send me an email and we can set up a time for a phone call or a Zoom or something. Just give me a little bit of a heads up, okay? What we're going to do now is just go through the syllabus where I can just kind of tell you how this class is going to work. Let me share my screen. This syllabus is available on eCampus, of course. And oh wait, that's that's a recovered document. That is not what I wanted to share. Can you imagine if I actually wait, where? Okay, I think we got it. Here we go. Um, Let me go to the beginning here. So, this syllabus is available for you on eCampus, and one of the first things you need to do in this class, and if you're watching this video, you're already ahead of the game, is take a syllabus quiz, which is going to be your first quiz. You're going to have need to do at least 10 quizzes this semester, and this is going to be your first one, and it asks you questions about this, well, this video, but this you. To be honest, even if you're not watching this video, then I guess you don't know I'm saying this, then you can just look on the syllabus and get all the answers for it there. But I'm going to try to hit the highlights for you to make it a little bit easier. Okay, this is a film class. You're going to have to watch some things. Um, you do not, however, need to get a Netflix account or anything like that. The course materials that you need, including the films that we're going to watch, we're going to be watching 3 films, are available on e-reserves. And in order to get into e-reserves, you got to click here or just Google it, and then you're going to have to log in with all of your WVUID stuff. And then if you click on our course, the movies that we're going to be watching should be available to you. If you have the movies accessible to you on a service or something, that's fine. I don't care how you watch it, but this is so that you don't have to buy anything. Um, there is a textbook, but it's free, so you don't have to buy anything. I will be assigning readings. If you look to the very back of this, which actually, I just remember, I still, the pink won't be here when you get this. I have to upload links to my videos, but everything else is pretty much set. And you can see here, I've linked to the different chapters that are associated. Sometimes we don't have readings. I'll say no readings. And other times there'll be other types of readings like, oh, I thought, let me see. Oh, I know where at the very end here, like here's a reading that is just a pop press article. So you can link to all the readings here, but here's the cool thing, unless you love reading. To be honest with you, the readings are more supplemental. You could probably get by in this course without doing any of the readings. However, I do have supplemental videos that you need to watch. So what's going to happen is every week, or sorry, every unit. So you can see here, it's like today, you're going to need to watch this intro video. And then I'm going to post a lecture, which is going to be kind of like this, except it's going to have a PowerPoint slide. And you're going to watch that. And then also, I post these YouTube videos. And you have to watch that. And that is what your quiz is going to be based on. So the best way to handle this course, I think, is to first go into eCampus. That's where the quizzes are. Go into, there's going to be these folders for different units. You go into the folder, you click on the unit. I would open up your quiz, and then I would open up another like tab or window or something. And then I would go back into eCampus, and then I would watch the lecture, and then I would watch the video. And then as I'm watching these things, I would answer all the quiz questions. So it's kind of, think about this as like a digital workbook situation where essentially I just want you to pay enough attention to what I'm saying and what these videos on YouTube are saying about these films that you can answer the questions on these quizzes. I don't put trick questions on the quizzes. A lot of them it's really just about um, paying attention. Like it's sort of like a guide to get you through the material. Sometimes you'll have to do a little bit of writing and reflection on some of the things you watch, but for the most part, the idea is to just help guide you through all of this different content. But again, all of the content's listed here. I also have it listed in the respective units on eCampus. But essentially, if each this is designed to be done such that you could go each day and do a unit each day. But if you want to do several units in one day, that's fine with me. It's just going to take a little while. The other thing I want to point out about this schedule here is that when it says film viewing, that means you're actually going to have to sit down and watch a film. You still have a quiz to take, okay? So I'm going to be asking you questions about to make sure that you're paying attention to the film. But that's obviously going to take a minute. So, like The Shining, for instance, I think is like almost like 2.5 hours. So you just want to make sure that you have enough time for that. My lectures are going to range from like probably 10 to 20 minutes, depending on what the lecture's on. I try not to go over 20 minutes. If I do, it's only a little bit. But then hopefully you'll have a lecture that's like, 12 minutes the next time and it won't be so bad. No promises though. Okay, so I already told you how to reach out to me. Now you sort of see like what the flow is. But more specifically, so again, you don't really have to do readings. You're going to have to do a lot of watching. This is a film class. But as I said, I think that if you can just keep up with all of the videos and the quizzes, that's half the battle. The other half battle is discussion board film show and tells. So you got to do these quizzes, okay? And the other assignment that you got to do during the semester is a show and tell where you pick out your own film scene and then you need to apply some of the course materials to talk about it in some way. And I'm being kind of general here, but there's specific instructions on eCampus that you can find. The idea is going to be like, okay, you just did a module on learning about different film techniques. Now I want you to go and find your own film scene. I want you to share it with the whole class, and I want you to pick some of the vocabulary words that we talked about and apply it to explain what's going on in your film scene. I also want you to make it clear that you understand the vocabulary. This is supposed to be an informal writing assignment. It's not a research paper. I don't want you to have to do outside research. I also don't want you to use AI to write it. That'll make me mad and I'll give you a 0. And it's not because I hate AI. I love AI. It gives me all sorts of good ideas. But this is supposed to be your own writing. But again, don't make it so I don't want you to make it so complicated. You can play to your strengths. You can write about whatever scene you want. And this isn't supposed to be super long. I'm thinking like 400 to 500 words, okay? Which is just like a few paragraphs. So if you're interested in learning more about that, go on eCampus and read about the specific requirements for that paper. There's a question on your syllabus quiz that kind of requires you to go in there because I want to make sure that you can find everything you need to know. But that's it. So here is the distribution, the grading scale. Okay. You got two things you got to do in this class. I mean, you have to do a lot, but I'm saying assignment wise, there are two categories of assignments that you have to worry about. Quizzes. But here's the cool thing about quizzes. There are 13 quizzes that you can do in the class. I'm only going to count 10 of them. Okay. So let's just go back to the back here. So look, I have like quiz 1, which this is quiz 1, quiz 2, quiz 3, quiz 4, blah, 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 blah. Okay, fine. Goes all the way up to quiz 13. Okay. If you do 10 quizzes, let's say you do all of the quizzes up to quiz 10, you don't even have to do those quizzes if you don't want. Now, listen, going through the content might help you if you need to write a response paper, but what I'm trying to show you is there's some flexibility. Let's say that you do a quiz and you get a grade that you don't like. Okay, great. Just do another quiz, do 11 quizzes, and then I'll drop your lowest grade, right? So that's another way of looking at this. If you do 13 quizzes, I'm only going to take 10 grades, which means that I'll take your 10 highest and I'll drop your 3 lowest. Okay. Now, again, if let's say you just miss one, no problem. You get a 0, but that 0 is not going to count so long as you have 10 quiz grades that I can count. So I hope that makes sense. That's how, so for this reason, I'm not taking late quizzes. Basically, the way this is going to work is all of your quizzes for 1 week are going to be due on Friday. So you got to move, okay? Because all of this stuff ends on Friday. It allows me to grade in the weekend, but also the semester ends on a Friday, so it's just going to keep things nice and easy. All of your quizzes are going to be due on the Friday of the week that they're assigned. But let's say that like you're like, oh crap, I only did 3 quizzes this week. Shouldn't be a problem. You can just make sure that you do quizzes the next week. Oops. Ooh, that's not good. Editing it. Okay. All right. If you have any questions about that, let me know. There's a similar situation with these film scene analysis show and tells. There are 3 assigned. There's one that corresponds with each of the 3 weeks for the class where we cover different things. And the focus of what you write about is going to be tied to what we're covering that week. But just like that, the quizzes, I'm not going to, you don't have to do all of them necessarily. You only need to do up to 50 points. So you need to do 2 of them, 2 out of 3. So if you do the first 2 um, scene analyses and you like your grade on the analyses, you don't have to do the third one. Okay. Alternatively, let's say you do the first one, you don't like your grade, just do the other 2 and I'll take, the best 2 out of 3. If you can't turn it, I mean, I don't accept late assignments in this class, but again, this is why. If let's say you're like, oh crap, it's Friday and I haven't even started this, and um, oh, actually, I don't like this scenario. It's too sad. But okay, let's just say hypothetically, you don't remember that you're supposed to do the assignment until Saturday. Don't even bother turning it in because I'm not going to take it. Just go ahead and do the assignment for next week. Now, if you miss 2 in a row, that's like bad, obviously, but just don't do that, okay? Like, hopefully you'll learn from your mistake, the first time you miss it and you can make up for it the second time. So that's the class in a nutshell. You've got quizzes, you've got a post, and the best way of seeing this like as an overview is just every week, this is sort of like its own theme. And then at the very end of the week, you'll notice on Fridays, I don't give you any new content. There's no new videos that you have to watch. There's no new lectures. You can spend all day Friday writing your film analysis if you want. But again, the way this class is set up, you can work at your own pace. So if you're watching this on Monday and you decide that you're going to do the whole first week, including the film scene analysis on Monday, good for you. I feel bad for your Monday. But yeah, then you have the rest of the week free. I don't care. You can do it at your own pace. Now, if you decide to do things early, and I guess now that I'm saying it, I'm guessing I'm going to do it. I will give you the ability to do the entire semester whenever you want. Okay, you can work at your own pace. 2 caveats though. Do not do it out of order because that's going to mess you up. The way I did this class in many ways, it doesn't always build on it, but like there are some things where like we're going to watch The Shining and then we're gonna keep talking about The Shining and I'm gonna keep referencing it in future lectures. So you really need to do these things in order. So that's caveat number 1. You can go at your own pace, but don't go out of order. Don't try to do the content for this day before you do the content for that day. Okay. That would also be stupid for lots of reasons. So just don't do it. The other caveat is I'm not going to grade. I mean, maybe I will, but I do not plan on grading things super early. So if you're like an overachiever and you decide that you want to get your last film scene analysis done, I don't know, tomorrow, that doesn't mean I'm going to grade it then. I do tend to prefer to grade things when I have everybody's stuff turned in. That way, if I need to curve grades or anything, I can do that, right? And not cause any like upset. So just please understand that you're allowed to go at a faster pace, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I will go at a faster pace. And again, I would just caution you, though I understand like, okay, you might have vacations that you want to prepare for, so you want to get all your stuff done. I totally get it. But the other thing I would caution is like, you might want to pace yourself enough that you can get some of my feedback so that like, let's say that you're like let's say you're kind of effing it up and you didn't do your first film scene show and tell like you should have, then at least like you'll get my feedback. So before you do the next one, right? So you won't mess that one up either, because you're kind of taking a risk if you do everything at once. So, but again, it's your life. You do you. Those are my only caveats. I guess the only other thing I want to say, I think everything's pretty self-explanatory, and I think I did cover most of, at least most of the stuff that's in your syllabus quiz. The only other thing I want to talk about is the media that we are going to be watching, and in terms of trigger warnings and things like that. Um, think trigger warnings are really important, but trigger warnings are not like a permission not to watch something. The first time I taught this class, I did show The Shining, and a student came up to me like in the middle of the film viewing and was like, "Yeah, so I'm gonna leave because I don't really like horror movies." And I was like, "Okay, well, I don't care if you like it, but it's an appreciation class, and so we're all about helping you appreciate stuff, even if you don't like it." So it's very like that. That said, a trigger warning is to prevent people from being surprised and having emotional reactions that they're not prepared for. So I do want to just tell you that a lot of the stuff that all of the stuff that we watch deals with like it has naughty adult language in it. Um, there is blood in the first thing that we're going to be watching, and violence, domestic violence. So when you're watching The Shining, The Shining's kind of the worst of the three things that we're going to be watching. It is a horror film, but it's not exact. I give you like a little bit more of an overview if you want to see it in the intro before you actually watch the film for more details. The other two things deal with adult situations like sex and and maybe like some kung fu fighting for the other movies. So there is violence and stuff in this stuff, but that is just to let you know sort of like what kind of stuff we're going to be covering, so you just like know what you're getting into if you want to drop the class or anything like that. But besides that, I think most of the stuff is stuff that you could easily just sort of like look up and make sure that there's nothing that would be potentially bothersome to you. But if you're worried about something specific, let me know, okay? um, Besides that, happy trails for this class. Again, it is kind of a lot because it's accelerated, but hopefully you'll get a lot of pleasure out of this. Just set aside some time and a nice space to like sit back, maybe put some earphones in, and most of what you're going to have to do is just sort of like follow along, watch my lectures, watch the movies, watch the supplemental videos, take your quizzes, and then find some scenes of your own that you want to share with us and apply what you've learned. But that's pretty much it. So if you have any questions, let me know. I'm looking forward to learning from you with all of your examples and getting to know you just a little bit better. But don't be a stranger because, I'm sort of like like removed. I feel removed in these online classes. Just send me an email if you need anything, okay? All right. Take care. Bye.